this, let's bring in David Avella, GoPac chairman, and Richard Fowler, Fox News contributor. All right, want to put up a bunch of numbers here, gentlemen, to start us off. Latest Wall Street Journal poll in Arizona. Harris has got the lead, 48-46, but if you look at the RCP average, Trump still leads 48.1 to 47.6. Obviously, it's as tight as can possibly be, but it's a potential weakness for Trump in Arizona. He gets the support of 88% of Republicans. Harris gets the support of 96% of Democrats. David, sounds like there's still a lot of John McCain Republicans in Arizona.
Could be, but we're also now to the point, John, we're in blocking and tackling season. And it's all about making sure your voters are going to vote. Mm-hmm. And arguably the most effective thing Donald Trump could do right now is to go on camera, face it with a television ad and say, Arizona voters, go vote. Go vote early. Go vote by absentee ballot. Go vote in person. We can't afford an undervote, because the dynamics are set up. And in fact, you see media reports where the Harris campaign believes Arizona is starting to slip out of their control in winning it. And part of it is because of Hispanic males that she is struggling with. She's not getting the same percentages that Joe Biden got. For Donald Trump, it's about making sure his voters go out to the polls, which is why a very effective get out the vote message would be him to camera to saying, go vote.
But she is, Richard, doing a lot better for her party than President Biden had been. The other thing we learned from this poll is that she is now up 6 points in Arizona over Biden's previous numbers, 5 points in Georgia, and 4 points in North Carolina.
I think it's important to zero in on Arizona for just a moment. And to your point, John, this John McCain voter, because you can tell people to go vote, but you're asking them what they're voting for and what they're voting on. And I think that's what matters in this election, because I think voters are taking a grocery cart of issues with them to the polls, right? So when you're talking to a John McCain voter, they're thinking about immigration, they're thinking about the economy, they're thinking about civility. They're taking all these things with them to the polls. And what Kamala Harris just talked about there in their speech, they're thinking about their kids who are having children in this moment. And they're thinking, who's the best candidate to take the country forward? Who's the best candidate to vote for the issues that I care about? And I think what Kamala Harris is showing in this moment is she's the best candidate to do so. When you think about immigration is a multifaceted issue. It's more than just stopping folks from crossing the border, but it's also dealing with the dreamers that are here, dealing with the undocumented folks that are here. And what you've heard from the Trump-Vance campaign is we're just going to have mass deportations. That's going to solve all of our problems. But guess what? We've seen this movie before. We saw this movie 8 years ago when Donald Trump told you the same thing. And guess what? He didn't do it. So is he going to do it in the next movie? Maybe not. The first movie is always better than the sequel.
But take a look at the number of illegal crossings during the last years of his administration versus the Biden-Harris administration. You mentioned, David, that she has got a problem with young male Hispanics. She also seems to have problems with another key demographic, because listen to what Obama said in his speech in Pittsburgh yesterday. He said, quote, "We have yet to see the same kinds of energy and turnout in all corners of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers."
We have seen this trend since the summer, that African-American males are much more favorable to Donald Trump than in past cycles. You add that the problem that the Harris campaign
with one notable exception.
With one notable exception. He was a guaranteed vote for Kamala Harris. But we also, another key group is the blue-collar workers, which is why Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania are so close. I mean, you think about Wisconsin for a second. In both 16 and in 20, it was decided by 1 percentage point. That's 25,000 voters, folks. 25,000 voters in Wisconsin are going to have a huge impact on who ultimately wins. And if you look at where the trends are going in all three of those states, they're moving more towards Donald Trump than they are towards the vice president.
Weigh in, if you will, Richard, on this concern about lack of support among young African-American men.
Sure. I think every voter deserves the respect that a candidate will ask them for their vote. And asking them for their vote doesn't mean telling them to buy your shoe or bringing out the next best rapper and telling them because this person likes me, you should vote for me. It actually says to them, meet me where I'm at, talk to me about what I care about, and use that to vote for me. And it might sound benign, but for many African American men in this country, those who have college degrees and those that don't have college degrees, the issue is pretty simple. It's about jobs. Who can guarantee that I can have a good job to take care of my family? And I think for both campaigns, when it comes down to it, when black men go to the polls, they're going to look for the candidate that says, could you get me a good job that allows me to buy a house,
But they seem
take
to be
care of
riding
my
Trump on
family?
that front.
Look, and I'll be honest with you, I think Trump talks a good game, but when you look at the records of the hold on, wait a minute, I didn't interrupt you. When you look at the two candidates and you look at the two parties, what you find is Joe Biden was the first president to walk on the strike lines with striking UAW workers who were demanding better wages. Donald Trump talks about it, but he's not about it.
But under the Trump administration, you had African Americans making more money. There were more jobs, and it is more expensive in America under the vice president and
Really?
the president. It is, absolutely.
When Donald Trump left office, it was almost a 10% unemployment rate, bro.
We got a chance.
Incomes were up.
There was a 10% unemployment rate when he
But
left
in the middle
office.
of the
In the middle of COVID.
Sure, it was
Richard.
still 10% though.
But it's a pretty big cut.
The facts are the facts.
All right, we got to leave it there, gents.
Good to
Thanks
see
so
you.
much. Great to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good to see you.
All right, so take a look at this Florida, North Carolina.